What's going on, guys? I am Hoiser bringing you an NBA 2K13 quick ranked match using the Pacers playing the Clippers. And this video, you can probably tell by the title, is going to be about how I think, at least in my opinion, I don't know, yours is different, but that the Indiana Pacers will upset alert. They will beat the Miami Heat whenever they face them, whether it be, it won't be the divisional round because the Pacers are the second seed and Miami's first, so I think it would, yeah, it'd be in the conference finals if they did face each other. If the playoffs started right now, I think that's how it would be. So, whenever they play each other, I predict that the Pacers will beat the Miami Heat. And the reason I think this is, part of it is, if you remember, if you go back to last year, when the Pacers played the Heat in the second round of the playoffs last year, the Pacers, they had a really tough loss the first game. It was a very close game until the end. Miami pulled away a little bit and ended up winning. But then the Pacers came out and smashed the Heat in the second game. And then the next three games were in Indianapolis, back at home for Indiana. And the Pacers won the first game. They dominated that game too. And they were up 2-1 in the series. It looked like they were going to win it. The Miami Heat fans were getting mad. LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, they took a day off. And they regrouped and, they just took a day off away from basketball. And just, that really cooled their minds because they just came out and Wade and LeBron just went off in the next couple games. And they ended up winning 4-2. And there were a lot of new faces back then for the Pacers. They had a lot of they still had a lot of chemistry because I give a lot of credit to Frank Vogel, the coach. He's a really good coach. But and they got rid of most of the players off the bench last year. They kept all the starters. The starting lineup's the same, minus Danny Granger because he's been hurt and he just came back. But they got rid of Barbosa, who was a great scorer off the bench, and they got rid of Lou Amundsen, who was just an energy player. He didn't really do much, but that's pretty much all the big players they got rid of. I guess they traded Collison, but this year, the starting lineup's the same. George Hill. I'll start off with George Hill. He's one of the most underrated point guards in the league because, really, ESPN, the big medias, they don't care about Indiana. Outside of, Miami and, basically the places where they have ESPN studios, that's the teams they like the most. You can tell by where they have the studios. So, they like Miami, LA, New York. I guess they're in Connecticut, but they like New York, Miami, LA, Oklahoma City, and really the only team in the inner part of the United States they like, in the Central Division is the Bulls. Just because Derrick Rose, but they don't like him this year because Derrick Rose is hurt. But yeah, George Hill, he gets no credit he's a really good player. He's a good shooter. He's a good point guard. He doesn't have any signature skills you can see up there, but he makes everyone better around him, and he makes good passes. He's a very consistent player. Night in and night out, you're going to get double-digit points and close to double-digit assists, and he also rebounds a lot for a point guard. So that's the way it is for most of the players. You know what you're going to get in and night out. You're going to get tough defense. They have the best defense in the league, or one of the best, and they also Oh, right here, I'm sorry for that little cheesy play. He was doing that all game, so I had to do that. I'm sorry. Just disregard that little fact. And also, they have Lance Stephenson as their shooting guard, and he's playing shooting guard in the absence of Danny Granger. If you don't know, he hurt his knee or something. He had surgery, and he's back now. But Lance Stephenson, I don't know if you know who Larry Bird is. I'd be surprised if you don't. He's one of the greatest shooters of all time. But he drafted Lance Stephenson. He was the president of basketball operations for the Pacers until last year. He retired. But he drafted Lance Stephenson and said he's the best player on the Pacers. And he just hasn't matured yet. He needs to mature. And I feel like he's matured now. He's not a breakout season, but this is definitely the best season of his career. His scoring's up. His defense, he's really good at defense. And he just brings a lot of energy. He still needs to mature a little bit to stay consistent, because some games he'll be an all-star, but some games he'll be really bad. And that's also the way it is with Paul George. Paul George, you've probably heard a little bit about him. He was an all-star. He's having a breakout year. His scoring's way up. His shooting percentage is way up. That's why he was in the three-point contest, even though he didn't do anything. But yeah, he's on pace. His stats are on pace with Reggie Miller, who, if you don't know who Reggie Miller is, he's one of the greatest three-point shooters of all time. He just got passed by Ray Allen last year for most three-pointers of all time. So he was one of the best shooters, and his stats were around the same because this is George's third year in the league, third or fourth, and his stats are the same or near Reggie Miller's through his third, fourth year. So he's on pace with that. So he's going to be a very, very, very good player. He's very athletic. He can guard LeBron. He can take LeBron one-on-one. He doesn't need the double team. And also, the front court for the Pacers outmatches the front court of the Heat. I mean, this different play styles because you have Chris Bosh on the Heat and you have David West. Chris Bosh is more of a shooter. He's not very physical, and David West is one of the strongest players in the league. He's very, very strong in the post. He doesn't take no business from anybody, man. He keeps his ground. He'll bump you. He'll get you. You know, if you make him mad, he'll make you pay. But yeah, so David West, he can definitely outmatch Chris Bosh as he did last year in the playoffs. And Roy Hibbert, I don't really know who to call the starting center. I guess maybe Haslam, or I don't really follow the Heat much, but I think it's Haslam. He can't guard Roy Hibbert. Roy Hibbert's 7'2", Haslam's like 6'10" or something. So, Roy Hibbert definitely outmatches Udonis Haslam in that aspect. Even though Udonis Haslam is a great mid-range shooter, Hibbert's tall, he is lengthy, and he's also having a great year. And you guys probably heard about this. The media was on it a lot, but Roy Hibbert actually got in a fight against the Golden State Warriors. David Lee, the power forward for them, shoved Roy Hibbert trying to get a rebound. It was on purpose. David Lee was frustrated because Hibbert was just owning him. But yeah, and then Roy Hibbert got mad and he shoved him. And he used to be called soft all the time by everybody. Roy Hibbert was always the soft guy on the team, and he shoved David Lee and he got into a fight. He shoved Steph Curry, and so yeah, he's a lot tougher. He has more confidence now that he got the weak part out of the way. People don't call him weak anymore. So. And also, the Miami Heat bench, that's always been their weakness, is because they spent so much money on Dwayne Wade, LeBron, or I guess they already had Dwayne Wade, but on LeBron and Bosh, that they didn't have a lot of money to get other players. So, the Pacers bench, they have a pretty good bench. Tyler Hansbrough is a really good player, and I thought my game froze right here, but yeah, basically, guys, thanks for watching. My Xbox didn't freeze, I thought it would, but thanks for watching. The Pacers, I think they're going to beat the Heat. It's okay if you disagree with me, but anyways, like the video, subscribe, whatever. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you later.